Hello there, this is Tyler Movie Guy, and today we will be counting down the 7 new movies I watched in July 2026. And I'm mainly making this video to talk about the last 2. If you know, you know, those are 2 big heavy hitters for the year. But yeah, I just thought might as well talk about all the movies I watched this month. So with all that said, let's get into it.
Fire, you son of a... Great power comes great responsibility.
My brother had a turn!
You do this all day. I am Iron Man.
Why so serious?
Now I am the comeback, the destroyer of worlds.
Easily coming in last place, we have The Devil's Mouth. And going into this movie, I kind of just wanted to watch it because, you know, it's a shark movie. One of my favorite movies of all time is a shark movie. Jaws, of course. Catherine Newton's in it. I like her. And, you know, it's a streaming movie, so I didn't have to go to the theater for it. It was just, you know, on Prime. I didn't really have to pay anything more for it. So it was just kind of like, you know, an easy kind of watch. But I kind of regret watching it because this was just a really bad movie. You know, it could have just been like a very kind of safe and simple shark cave kind of movie, but the thing that really dragged this movie back were the characters, specifically like 2 characters. There was this one character who was just really annoying the whole time, and he was like skittish and being a pussy the whole time, and he's like, oh, I'm scared of blood, and oh, I want my mom, and stuff like that. Was super annoying. But the even worse offender was this one specific girl. She was just so like annoying throughout the whole film, and was like basically like the cause of like all the problems that kind of went down because of her. She was like the quote unquote like leader of the group, and anytime she like wouldn't get her way, she'd be like, let's go this way, and they're like, no, this is the better option. Then she'd be like, fine, I'll go on my own. And then they'll be like, okay, fine, we'll go your way. And then that happened at least like twice. And then there were other scenes where it's like, let's take the safe route. And she's like, no, let's do this route. And it's just like, oh my God. She was absolutely insufferable throughout the whole film, just directing them more and more into danger. So when she finally bit the bullet, I was very, very happy at that point. But yeah, this was just a really bad horror movie with like a bunch of really stupid, dumb characters. So yeah, I would not recommend this movie. It was pretty bad. So just rewatch Jaws instead. So all in all, that's why this movie comes in 7th place. Coming in 6th place, we have The Dink. And this was another streaming movie, so I didn't really expect too much from it, but I somewhat got what I wanted from it. You know, it had a decent enough cast, and also it was funny at times. It didn't make me like laugh as much as it really should have, but it was there were a couple chuckles, and that was about it. And yeah, it was just, you know, a simple movie about tennis and pickleball and all that stuff, and how the guy, he's like this all macho tennis player, everything like that, and then he switches over to pickleball and learns he loves it, and blah 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 blah. He takes on his father and learns, yeah, pickleball is okay. And yeah, so I don't really have much of a connection to either of the sports. I think I played tennis a little bit back in high school, but yeah, I'm not really connected to much of the sports. But someone who is a big pickleball player would probably have a little bit more fun with this movie. But yeah, it was fine. I'll probably never watch it again, but it was a decent enough watch at home, so that's why it comes in 6th place. Coming in 5th place, we have Avatar: Aang the Last Airbender. My knowledge of Avatar is absolutely nothing. I have not watched the series yet. I hope to watch the series. I did watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie just because I wanted to see how bad it was, and yes, I can agree it was bad. But yeah, so unfortunately I have yet to see the show, so I think that weighed into a big part of me liking this movie. And yeah, it was a fine enough movie. There were some cool action scenes and stuff like that, and it was cool hearing some actors I know like Dave Bautista and Steven Yeun. And yeah, I'm happy for the Avatar fans who their franchise is still somewhat pumping out stuff, or I guess they got their Netflix live action show. But yeah, I'm happy for them that they still get more content every year. And yeah, I hope to actually watch the series one day, and then maybe I will come and revisit this movie and have more of a connection to the movie, and maybe bump it up the score a little bit more once I have more of a connection. But yeah, as of now, there were some cool fight scenes and stuff like that, and it was cool Aang learning about his people and stuff like that, and then the big plot twist that was was kind of obvious and everything like that. So yeah, I'm sure if you're an Avatar fan, you will like it a lot more than me. For me, it was just fine, but I'm sure I will like it more once I watch the series. So that's why this comes in 5th place. Coming in 4th place, we have Evil Dead Burn, and this is a solid entry to the Evil Dead franchise. Some of the things I really did quite like about this movie is, once again, the gore is amazing. I feel like every movie they step it up more and more and more, and each movie has very iconic gory scenes. And this one, of course, it has the candle wax scene was gnarly, the cutlery scene in the dishwasher was gnarly, the scene with the dad just shooting himself over and over again was gnarly. So yeah, this movie is just full of gnarly, gory scenes, which Evil Dead fans, of course, love to see. But also a big pro about this movie, I would say, is expanding the lore of Evil Dead was really cool. Like every other kind of Evil Dead movies, you know, they accidentally read the book and then the Deadites come out and start attacking them. But this one, it's a little bit more advanced there, because it's not like somebody just stumbling upon the book. There's actually more lore, like the Deadites are looking for the dagger and everything like that can kill them and stuff like that, which is really, really cool to, yeah, expand the lore and kind of build it out. Because if it's just people finding the book over and over again, it gets repetitive. So yeah, having a more advanced kind of plot like this was really cool, and showing us recording the tapes from the original Evil Dead, and this is his family now, is really cool, and I hope for more expansion of the lore with Evil Dead Wrath in a couple years. But one of my qualms with this movie is it's kind of like the setting was a little boring. Like it's just kind of like this big house that's all spooky and run down and everything like that, which, you know, it's not a cabin in the woods, which would be super duper repetitive, but it feels very cabin in the woods-esque. Like it's very secluded and everything like that, so it feels very similar. So I think I kind of prefer Evil Dead Rise over this, because I just find an apartment and the thing with like a mom being possessed, it was just a lot more interesting and stuff like that. But all in all, yeah, this is still a solid entry in the franchise, and I'm super excited to see where the sequels keep taking it. So that's why this film comes in 4th place. Coming in 3rd place, we have Minions and Monsters, and it feels really funny putting a movie like this so high, like above like stuff like Evil Dead. But this film was just really funny and charming and sweet, and the big thing that bumped it up, of course, was its like celebration of cinema taking place in the 1920s, you know, the golden age of cinema. So seeing all the references to older classic films was really, really cool to see, of course, coming from someone like me who's just absolutely loves films. I don't really watch too many old movies like that, like from the 20s and 30s. Maybe someday I'll go back and watch that, but that's not really my jam. But still, just, you know, the appreciation to films like that and all of that stuff was really, really cool to see and everything like that. And then also there were just like a bunch of cool different side characters, like Dort was really cool, that space robot-y guy. And then Gumi as the bad guy was also cool. And then there was also just a bunch of other cool actors like playing smaller roles and stuff like that. And then also the start of the movie with George Lucas was really, really cool to see. So yeah, it's not my favorite Minions movie. I think The Rise of Gru is probably my favorite. It was just kind of for the vibes alone was kind of made it the best. Like seeing Gru was cool, and then also just the trend behind it of like dressing up to go to that movie and everything like that, which is what my friends and I did. So I just have very fond memories of The Rise of Gru, but this is easily the second best Minions movie. And yeah, it was just really cool and a celebration of cinema, and it was just, you know, a fun time at the movies. So that's why this comes in third place. Coming in second place, we have The Odyssey, and this was kind of like a last minute switcheroo. This film was originally going to be first place, but I bumped it down and replaced it with something else that probably everyone knows what it's going to be, just kind of based off of recency bias and everything like that. But when it comes down to when I do the top 10 of the year, this of course will be on it, but I might put it back on first place. I think I need to rewatch it or whatever, but as of now, I'm gonna keep it in second place. I know, crazy, but so with this movie, this is of course by my GOAT, Christopher Nolan, and this is just absolutely like a technical masterpiece of cinema. Just the lengths they went through with this film are absolutely crazy, you know, with the stuff like all the practical effects. They just did everything as practical as possible, you know, like making giant puppets of the Cyclops, and like instead of like doing CGI, or kind of, this is kind of a spoilery scene, I don't want to give it away too much, but like there's a scene where people like look distorted, and that was as practical as possible, and then they were actually out on ships forever, and people were actually buried alive, and just all of that stuff was just absolutely amazing to see, and just the fact of knowing it was all practical was just really, really cool. And then also the amount of talent on screen is just absolutely crazy. Like the cast is amazing. You know, Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Tom Holland, Lupita Nyong'o, John Bernthal, Elliot Page, Mia Goth. The list just goes on and on and on. Like, we could spend a whole video talking about the cast, but you know, everyone wants to work with Christopher Nolan. And one of my qualms, not with the movie itself, but like weeks prior to the movie coming out, is the people like shit talking like the cast having like a trans person and a black person in the roles was kind of like really heartbreaking. Like, the fact that people are going to like diss on a movie just because of people in the movie is just like really we're gonna talk about that instead of like getting hyped for this movie. So I'm really happy that the movie became so successful, and the people who were dissing on it for stuff like that just shut up, and you know, and it got overwhelmed with praise and everything like that. So I'm really happy about all of that stuff and everything like that. I gave this movie a 9 out of 10, and I was really hoping to give it a 10 out of 10, but I just feel like it's not quite at a 10 out of 10 for me. I like lots of people I know gave it a 10 out of 10, but me, it just, to give something a 10 out of 10, it's gotta have like deep emotional connection to it. Either like I have to cry to it, like if it came out like nowadays, or I have to have like a deep nostalgic connection to it if it's a film I watched back in the day. And yeah, there were no scenes that really had me like emotional. I was like in awe the whole time of like just the spectacle and the masterful filmmaking it was, but there was nothing that really had me feeling emotional. Like, you think like when Odysseus finally got home and he saw his son and he saw his wife, it would really just give me like, ugh! But nothing really got me to that feeling. So it was just kind of like, this is all really, really cool, but nothing really gave me that feeling that I strive for every time I go to the movies. And the movie that will be number one, it didn't get me to cry either, but it got me really a lot closer than this movie did. But yeah, so that's the thing that's kind of holding it back from giving it that first place spot. And unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it in IMAX. That's a whole other thing, how it kind of pisses me off. There's this whole kind of thing where it's like, oh, you have to watch it in IMAX, you have to watch it in IMAX, which is, I find kind of bullshit. Like, there's only like 40-ish IMAX cameras all around the world. Fortunately, where I live, there are 2 theaters where there is IMAX, but the one that's closest to me was booked like a year in advance, and it's still booked up for like a month now. So I just find it really bullshit that, you know, people who have a job and have a life and everything and don't know if they're gonna be available a year later, they're gonna suffer because of this thing that isn't even that special. I find that's just, you know, it's this fad that people just kind of like to brag about, and I don't and it's like a box. Like, I don't know why people are so excited about that. So I feel like the talk about that over the movie itself is also kind of annoying. And how did I forget about the score? The score is amazing too. Of course, Ludwig Göransson absolutely cooked with the score. There weren't like too many parts, too many scores that I super duper loved that made me want to add to my movie score playlist. There was just like the Odysseus one that was like easily the best one. But yeah, it wasn't like Oppenheimer from a couple years ago where I added like 5 of those songs to that playlist. It was more like one was really good and then the rest were also good. But yeah, so all in all, absolute technical masterpiece, 9 out of 10 movie, great score, great talent on screen, everything like that. It is just like, from a filmmaking perspective, it is like a perfect film, but it just didn't have that emotional hook I wanted to give it a 10 out of 10 or put it at first place on this list. So that's why it comes in second place. As of now, I kind of want to rewatch it and maybe it will become first. But as of now, second place. But coming in first place as a last minute plot twist, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this literally was like a last minute change initially before recording this video. I was gonna have Odyssey at first, but I'm like, I kind of want to give it to Spider-Man. And this might be recency bias because, you know, the first time I watched it was last Friday, and then I rewatched it again last night, and then Odyssey was already like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it might be recency bias, but as of now, I'm gonna give it to Spider-Man. This was just such a fun movie and a great epilogue to No Way Home, which I still do consider like my favorite Spider-Man movie. That was just such a special event and everything like that. But this was also a great follow-up to that movie. And just like Superman last year, it felt very comic booky in the sense where Spider-Man's going around meeting all these new characters and fighting a bunch of his rogues gallery at the start was really cool. And also I've been thinking to myself, him like going around meeting characters that aren't really connected to him is kind of reminded me of Captain America from last year, and that was kind of one of my problems with Captain America. But I think what Spider-Man does a lot better is the fact that him in the TV shows and comics and everything like that, he's kind of a lot really known to jump around and stuff like that, and it's not him meeting characters specifically tied to a specific hero, like, you know, Cap was like specifically dealing with Hulk villains, which was weird. It's more him like bouncing around to just a bunch of different Marvel characters, which I did really like. And also, this is like probably the best shot Spider-Man movie, thanks to Destin Daniel Cretton. He just did a really great job with like swinging scenes and everything like that. And I don't know if I'm just like being kind of biased because I saw the practical swinging scenes from a year ago, but I feel like you can really feel that in this movie, that they tried to be as practical as possible. And also just there were certain like homages to the Spider-Man games, and there's like certain POVs where he's leaping from building to building and swinging that we see, and it's pretty thrilling. It feels like you're on a roller coaster or stuff like that. It was just all really, really cool. And then also down to the emotional core of this film, a lot like Thunderbolts, it is a lot about loneliness and how we deal with that regarding Peter Parker and our mystery character, who I don't really want to discuss. It's kind of too early, even though it's kind of obvious we know who it is. But yeah, with Peter, him dealing with loneliness, it's all about like how he was raised up and everything like that, and how he deals with loneliness and stuff like that, and how he becomes he's like a good person throughout the whole film. He does have like a bit of a dark period in the film, but not as far as our mystery villain who's also dealing with loneliness but goes down a way darker path. And it's kind of that's like the heart of the film, and how Peter teaches them that we don't have to be alone and everything like that. And through the villain, he learns himself. He's like, yes, we can't do this alone and everything like that. Is just a really cool message throughout the film, and a message for people also dealing with loneliness in the real world. I love superhero films that have an emotional moral to the story and everything like that. It was really, really cool. So yeah, all in all, it was a great movie. I love seeing all these different characters. I love the emotional core. I love the way they went with Ned and MJ and everything like that. And also out of all the kind of cool superhero cameos and crossovers and everything like that, I'd say Punisher was probably my favorite. Just seeing him like specifically taking on the Hulk was hilarious. The fact like knowing he is just a regular army soldier guy shooting down the Hulk, and there's like scene where like he's just like, oh shit, and the fact that this is a regular dude taking on the Hulk is absolutely hilarious. So yeah, all in all, great movie, great follow-up, great path to take him on, great moral, great characters, great everything. Yeah, so all in all, this is currently my favorite movie of the year and favorite movie of July. Maybe Doomsday will top it, maybe rewatching Odyssey will top it, only time will tell. But all in all, yeah, highly recommend it, and that's why this movie comes in numero uno. So that's my list for July. I'd love to hear some of your favorite movies of this month, and I'll talk to you later. So farewell.